Hello and welcome to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. My name is Mark. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I am interviewing Danny Clark at Arizona's Finest Roofing in Santan Valley, just southeast of Phoenix. Danny, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Mark?
Doing great. So we've done a lot of research. The team has looked over the business. I can tell you guys got a lot of great stuff going on. Great history of the business, and just looking at your website, I can see you guys do a ton of work for the community. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about the history of the business and where you guys are at today.
The history as far as how I got started, or?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like maybe your dad's in the business, or it's kind of been a family business.
Yeah, so in '63, my grandfather, Earl Clark, with Earl Clark Roofing, started his business, and he had boys in the house, and he put them to work, and got everybody swinging a hammer at an early age. So started with that, and then kind of the same thing happened with me. Growing up, my dad, we weren't roofers. We weren't wealthy by any means, but my dad definitely didn't want us getting in trouble or running around with the wrong group of kids. So he made us get up and go to work with them on summer breaks or weekends. School was very important to him. He was really worried about our education, but he wanted to make sure we didn't have that idle time before we could hang out and get in trouble, So I remember it being kind of a love-hate relationship. I'd say it like that because, man, I love being with my dad, and going to work at a family business was kind of like a family reunion all the time. You had uncles or cousins that would be there, and, we're constantly playing jokes on each other and, messing around. And so we had a lot of those good memories. But, man, I missed out on a lot of friendships, because, my buddies were going to the water parks, and, in the summer in Arizona's are brutal, So when you had to go to work on a roof, it was like, oh my gosh, you figured it out real quick that I think his path was for us to stay in school longer, to make us not really want to do this job. But, I
Interesting psychology there, huh?
Yeah, right.
You can either stay in school or you can be up on the hot roof in Arizona.
Yeah, it was like he always used to say to me, hey, use your brain and not your back, And so then I started thinking, well, what if I use both?
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah.
And was that in Santan Valley where you guys were at, kind of southeast of?
No, I actually grew up in Mesa, and 2010, I decided to move out to Santan to kind of get out of the riffraff and keep my kids, to where it's more rural and more, we live on an acre and a half, and it was just one of those things where the kids could play in the backyard, and that kind of deal is why we moved out here, and it's really been growing aggressively. So
amazing. I mean, it looks like you had a full house, six kids. Is that right?
I have 7 kids.
Unbelievable. Amazing.
Yeah. My wife and I both come from large families, and my dad had 6. I'm the oldest of 6, and I told him I wasn't going to be crazy like him and have 6 kids. So I stepped it up and got crazier. Did stuff.
I love it. So, man, I see, you guys got a lot of video, a lot of some really busy social channels, your Instagram channels, a ton of great video and stuff on there. Where's the business at today in terms of like how many folks on the team? What's kind of the layout, the size of the team, and how much volume you guys are doing these days?
We are, gosh, man. We've kind of downsized the last couple of years, and I'm not sure if this is an economy swing or what, but right now we currently have 5 office staff. We have 2 crews going. They're 6-man crews. And then I have 1 repair guy that kind of floats around. We're not at full speed ahead as I'd like to be, but we're not struggling either, So we're still able to, you talked about doing some of the community outreach, doing some of the giveaways that we've given away. Like we just gave away a free roof, and that was something that was important to me to give back to the community and just show just really I'm grateful for what we do have, and it was our way to give them back.
Well, I love that. And so we were looking at over on Instagram. We saw back in October, you guys started advertising for a free roof giveaway. And then I think that was December 1st or so. Tell me about that, man. So how did that how did you guys kind of ideate that? I mean, how did you decide you're going to give away a free roof? And, what was your motivation there? And, how'd that project go?
That project is actually still in the works. So
okay.
I'll start with how we got there. So basically how we got there was we've been strategizing or trying to strategize on how to get our name. I'm terrible with, I'm a really good roofer, right? I can do anything under the sun when it comes to the roof, but I am terrible at Instagram. I'm terrible at, I'm probably going to be terrible at this podcast, but I mean, putting yourself out there is a really job in itself, right? So, I never thought that I would be, I'm 48 years old, man. I never thought I would be trying to, my dad would probably call it, you're trying to be a movie star or something, and I'm not. But you know what I'm saying? When you get out there and you put yourself out there, man, you get the weirdest comments. Like, you're giving a roof away, and some guy goes, "Oh, you got a dad bod," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" That's what you got out of all that? But,
oh no!
Yeah. So,
wait, can I get some love over here?
Yeah, I'm like, here we're trying to show the love, and I'm getting some hate or some. I don't know if it's necessary if it's hate, maybe it's jealousy. I don't know, but
yeah, right.
And you kind of roll with those punches, but at the same time, what got us to do this was I was like, how do I give back to the community? And I always wanted to do a roof giveaway, and I thought, well, how could I do to help somebody else out that? And I was really worried that some multi-million-dollar roof in Scottsdale was going to get in on this, and and honestly, I relied on my faith a little bit, and I just prayed about it. I say, look, I want to bless somebody. I want to advertise our business and show people that it doesn't hurt to stop what you're doing and trying to make a difference in somebody's life, And the cool thing is it kind of helps promote us as well, right? Like, everybody's getting to see. And we've done this before. We've never advertised it, never put it out there. But I thought, you know what? This Instagram thing's all about likes and shares and all that stuff that it's all Greek to me. But, people are telling me like, oh, you have to do this. And that's kind of why we did it. But I'm glad that we're able to use that platform, right, to get out there to find somebody. And ironically enough, the customer that we found, it's what do they call the fourplex or whatever kind of building. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a unit, right? So the one part of it is hers, and I think, or the fourth of it is hers, and she's unit number 2. Ironically enough, we had done unit 3 and 4 already. And
really?
So, yeah. And so the crazy thing is a concrete roof tile that they literally had caulked every tile together. They concrete and mortared around every flashing, around every chimney. Dead Valley was full of mortar. So we literally had to remove every single tile and re-roof that tile. And originally I thought, you know what? I'm going to just do, on a tile roof, I'll just do the underlayment. We'll reuse the same tile, replace any broken tiles, kind of a standard for an R&R. And when she was selected, we drew her and she was selected, and I found out what job it was. It's one of those pack in and pack outs. It's nothing going to be easy. I thought, oh, it's a perfect little 1,300, 1,400 square foot roof, Couldn't have got any luckier to get, bless somebody, 1, and 2, get the job size that it is. And man, it was definitely a job that needed to be done, one that you have to pack in and pack out. And now they're talking about getting the joining unit 1 involved in it and wanted to get a quote to do that part of the roof. And we're working in those right now and seeing if I could do that. If not, then we'll just do her section and be done with it. But all new tile, all new underlayment. And we build our tile roof so much different than our competitors. I use a modified bitumen torch down underlayment, put up polyglass or polybond. And that product typically gets torched into position. We use that as a underlayment for tile. It was originally made for flat roofing, and it was a commercial. Yeah,
I've done some bitumen torch down roofing myself. Yeah, it's super solid, huh? So I mean, that's going to be a 50-year roof or whatever.
Yeah, and then the second key component for that is an arched or scallop batten by Eagle. Eagle, they came up with a really cool product that has that scallop in it, so water doesn't do the ponding that it does on a traditional tile batten, and then it allows water to run off that roof and give it the longevity that the underlayment deserves.
Oh man, I love it. So I bet she was just thrilled that you guys chose her. I mean, I saw, looked at the video where you were kind of promoting this, and it was great, man. They're kind of in the supply house or whatever, and talking about, we're going to do this. If you have some folks that, may need a new roof, maybe send us their story. I mean, did you get some folks sending in some cool stories that you guys were able to kind of review? And
we got some really cool stories, they're kind of all over the board, really, and it really, this one that we end up drawing out, first thing, it was Arizona girl, right? And so just the username, I was like, bang, I said, I like that name. I go, let's go. What's this one about? So we read her story, and she had a good story, and I really, it resonated with us, and I said, hey, look, I said, let's talk to her. And we had a hard time getting her on the phone. And then when we did our call, like I said, we are so not used to doing social media. We're getting better and better at it and doing these videos. And I can't wait 10 years down the road to look back and see how foolish I looked and how elementary it seemed doing these things, because man, what a different world it is for me, for sure.
Sometimes as builders, we're just out there quoting jobs and just going for it we got teams and whatnot. And I mean, we've got families who need support. I'm a builder from back in the day, not building as much these days, but, been on plenty of crews and, run a lot of my own jobs. And it's easy to kind of get in the business of it all and not be in that position of kind of giving back, right? It's just business. You're doing this work. And so, I mean, maybe for your crew and for the folks that kind of saw you taking that on and said, we're going to do this. I mean, that must have felt amazing to just give back like that and just be in this complete sort of service kind of to the community position. You talk about your faith and whatnot. And I bet that just felt amazing for you and for the team to do that, huh?
It did, and I, all the way from our office to the guys on the roof, it was, everybody was kind of on the understanding that this is what we're doing. And I think my guys' first initial thought was, oh, wait, we're not doing this for free, are we? I said, no, of course I'm paying my guys to get it done. Right. A couple of them did offer to give a hand and not to accept a payment for it. And I told them that wouldn't be necessary, that we'd cover those expenses. But, we've done it before in the dark, where nobody really knew that we were doing that. Matter of fact, one other time we done it in the news channel showed up. I think it was News Channel 3 or 10, or oh, wow. They came up and did a segment on us. And I think that was back in like 2009 or 10, quite a while ago. But, back, like you said, kind of being on a roof and just doing our estimates and working with people, you try not to be like Monty Hall, let's make a deal. But then again, you get out there and you think you're helping people or blessing them by knocking $500 off or $300, or whatever it might be to help them along. There's several times that we've gone out, and matter of fact, and definitely not toot my own horn, but I was out in Florence, and I had the address wrong. Our office got the address wrong because we're humans, we make mistakes. And man, I'm looking for this roof, and I'm getting frustrated, and I'm going through this neighborhood, and I'm like, this ain't the 100 block. This is a total different 100 block. And I went to another, I got on my map and tried to draw it up on the screen in the truck and try to figure out where I was at and get my footing, get my location here. And finally, I called the office and I said, listen, last thing I want to do is call you to figure out where I'm going, but something's wrong here and we need to get this right. And they got a hold of the customer, and the customer is guiding us in. So there was like a 3-way there. And she was out there telling us she's in an orange shirt, waving me down, and I got there and it was one rake edge trim tile that was on the ground. And I thought, goodness, all this grief for this one little tile, all the way out to Florence,
Well.
One of the guys that was with me, I said, hey, check it out, man. I said, this is what we're going to do. And he goes, what's that? And I go, get the ladder, get a screw gun, get some deckmate screws, and let's just put this up for her, call it a day. And he said, well, should we charge her? And I said, we're not charging her. And he says, what do you mean? I said, hey, you know what? First of all, I'm grateful I got here.
Yeah,
it's one tile. I'm not going to charge her a minimum charge for one tile when I can do it right now. I can get it done, and we could be over it, So
That's
We
amazing,
did.
man.
She was super happy, asked us to stand in front of the truck and wanted to take our picture and do a review. So I've yet to see that review, but as soon as she gets around to it, I'm sure she'll get it done.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Danny, so speaking of reviews, actually, we took a look at some of your reviews, and I mean, you guys have got an exceptionally high rating. Looks like folks just love you guys. We're looking at one of the reviews, and I had the quote in there. It said that, you probably don't even necessarily remember this, but it said, your secret weapon is your good people.
Yeah, one of my good people just showed up here. Matt, I'm going to have him step in. He just walked up.
Let's go. Matt, what's up, buddy?
This is one of our sales reps.
Fantastic. Live on the podcast right now. Matt in the house. Yeah. Thanks, you're famous, dude.
But yep. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, he's one of the biggest reasons why he's one of our lethal weapons. I mean, everybody has a place here, and I'm telling you, I really have hand selected the best people. We don't sub any work out. Our employees are top notch. I mean, from certifications to, I just have I've just gotten really lucky and blessed to have guys that are respectful, to have guys that care about what they're doing and actually love roofing. I think, when you meet somebody, you start talking to them. And a lot of times when I interview somebody about working on our roofs, and I can usually tell if they have a passion for it or not, And that they're not jumping up and talking about roofing every second, but I can just tell if they love what they're doing. And you can really tell when you get up on that first job with them that they've done, And typically when we have our guys come out and they want to work for us or work with our team, we go out with them. And I'm typically on site watching their install. I can tell within the first 10 minutes, man, if that guy's been a roofer for a year, 10 years, 20 years, where he's at. A lot of times you can tell, and I'm sure that when the guys show up with their tools or what they're working with, and we have a very low turnaround because of that, because I tell them right away, like, hey, listen, thanks for your time. I appreciate you. Like, I'm not desperate for you. I'd love you to be in our team, but this is the deal. Like, first off, if you're going to start off with lying to me, telling me you've been you've been a roofer for X amount of years, and you got brand new nail guns or you got brand new tools, there's something either happening, they've been stolen, and now you've had to replace your tools. I don't know after this next couple 30 minutes or so, or you're just trying to get a job and you're really not sure. Someone here's leading the way. You know what I mean? Another crew member or whatever. So usually these guys come in crews that like to work together. Occasionally, back when I was a kid and I was roofing for my dad and my grandpa, we would get the guys come in and I would know right away how good they were, and I'm telling you, because my grandfather was from back in Missouri, and any good old boy from Missouri showed up, man, come on in, and he hired everybody. So I've kind of learned from that too, is to be a little bit more selective of who I hire, not just any good heartbeat with a pulse, right? So, or good old boy with a pulse is what I meant to say.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And Danny, it sounds like you've been in the business for so long, and it's really in your blood. You've got, obviously got the experience. Sounds like you got some leadership skills too. Sort of these days, something that's coming up, and a lot of folks we talk to on the pod here, and just folks in the industry, they really have a hard time with kind of retention, right? So, there's a shortage of talented labor out there. There's a shortage of motivated people. Maybe you could, last little bit of your time here. I don't want to take up a ton of your time, but it sounds like you got some experience in this. What do you do to, what are a couple of tricks and, tips for kind of retention, right? You put this time into finding the right people, very selective about who you hire. You probably pay well, right? That's a part of it. But what's a tip or two that you can share for the audience of how to keep your team long-term so it's not just that kind of in and out flow?
Yeah, man, that's something that comes with time, right? But really, I think you got to gain the respect of your guys, and a lot of times, I don't want my guys to just think that, hey, Danny just sells roofs and he just goes out and he just talks to people and he does podcasts or, he does Instagram videos every day. Like, man, I get out there and I'll hustle with them. I'll get out there and I'll chuck tile. I'll get out there and I'll show them that I'm a roofer. I'm not just a sales guy or a business owner. And I think that speaks volumes too, and a lot of times, like, I call it the blessing, right? And sometimes my guys might not think it's a blessing. Maybe I'm more in the way than I think I am. But I like to go out there and my guys all work piecework, right? Because we're all motivated by money. And so I'll go out there and I'll spend my time with them and I'll work all day with them. And I don't charge them for my time. I go out there and just kind of my thank you to them. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys. But I mean,
that's great.
The deal is respect is huge. Ownership is huge. And what I mean by ownership is, man, we're not perfect, right? Like, when you're wrong, you're wrong. And it's not a bad thing to step up to that and own that, and I teach my guys that too. I wouldn't have my guys do something that I wouldn't do. And so a lot of times when I come out to, even though we do piecework and something isn't always cut and dry or black and white, and there's some gray area on some of those things, like as far as pay goes. And what I mean by that is like different things, like, doing a hip versus a straight gable, or doing a dead valley versus a regular valley on a tile roof. I take those into consideration, the time that's spent to do that, because I've lived it. So I pay them well. Again, I live that part of it too, right? To where you're going, man, how much am I making this week? And I pay the best in the valley. My guys, they don't want to go anywhere else. They love what they do. They love that I pay them and I treat them right. And that's just kind of, I think that's what makes the roofing world go round. So.
Love it. So it sounds like pay is, you got the pay piece of it, which is certainly a piece of it, right? This can't just be all, sort of good vibes. And we've got the paying them well, but also you're getting in there, really as a leader does, right? And kind of leading from the front, not, you're willing to jump in there and jump on the roof with these guys, hoof tiles up the ladder or whatever it is. And just being there with them and just be there on the team. And so you're kind of cultivating that respect. And when they just see that you're there, part of the team, doing it with them, being up on the hot roof, and taking care of them, taking care of their families, then, they're not looking for somewhere else to go. They're stoked to just work for you and the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love it.
No. Treat people the way you want to be treated, right?
Love it. Love it.
Simple.
Well, fantastic. Well, Danny, if so I'm not even sure. I said America's Finest Roofing is you guys. Arizona's Finest Roofing. They're in Santan Valley, kind of southeast of Phoenix, a little further out. Arizona's FinestRoofing.com. If folks want to get in touch with you, they want to hear a little bit more about what you're doing. You got an active, Instagram channel, but what are a couple of good ways to get in touch with you and the crew?
You can catch us on the gram, Arizona'sRoofing.com, or Arizona'sFinestRoofing.com.
Okay.
That's, you could catch us. You can catch us on TikTok. I think we got somebody doing some TikTok stuff for us too. I think that's going away though, right? Is that I hear that?
Yeah. If you want to find them on TikTok, you better do it quick.
Yeah. So I heard that was going away, but we're pretty easy to find. So you catch us on social media, but I don't know where else would I find us.
Awesome.
Should I have a QR code?
And then to see, some of the sort of work that you guys do is also going and taking a look at the website, Arizona'sFinestRoofing.com.
Yep. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Well, Danny, it's been great, man. Thank you for being on the channel here today. We've learned a lot about the family business, what you guys are up to today, and some great tips on retention. And if you're in the Arizona Valley and looking for a great company to work with, go take a look at Arizona's Finest Roofing. I think you guys are going to find some great stuff to read more about and read some reviews and get in touch with Danny.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to say before we go, I started my business in 2007. I'm a third generation roofer here in the Valley. We love what we do here, and I'm always learning, man. There's always, I've never think for a second that I've got it all figured out. There's always something new, trying to keep up with cutting edge. This whole Instagram thing and this technology is out of my world, but I'm getting to it. And best of luck to everybody out there. Keep grinding, don't give up, and stay positive all the time.
I love it. Great advice from Danny. Great advice to follow. I'm going to be looking into that myself. Thanks for being on the show today, Danny. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate you for having us on. Thanks again.
Okay, take care.
You too, buddy. Thanks.